Black women are responsible for the broken homes in our community. Black women are responsible for the broken homes in our community. I'm gonna go to you first, picking and choosing.
Boy, you want to start with me first? I say yes. Saying yes does not absolve men of their wrongdoing, does not absolve men of their bad decision making. But I believe it starts with women being able to properly vet, and then women properly understanding their place in a relationship, and then child rearing, and then knowing how to navigate that space in the event that the relationship doesn't last. A lot of people can say, but the guy has a role in that too. And we have to look at the party who is primarily raising the children. We cannot look at absentee people and try to blame them for the problems in the home, because you can only blame the people who have the ability to positively or negatively impact the home. And rarely does a father who's not there have the ability to say what goes on in that household. Now, if he has the children, then I will reverse that philosophy, and I would say I blame the men, and I hold the person again accountable who is raising the children.
I'm partially on what Will was saying pretty much because you know, if you're talking about society as a whole, who's raising the children, unfortunately for us, it's primarily the mothers who were responsible for that part of it. But at the same time, you have to take a look at the men. We got some busters out here who are abandoning families, which is irresponsible. That's trash. People don't understand that part of the duty, right? I don't think there's enough men on that point that feel like they should be responsible for children. And there are some instances where women definitely try to keep the children away from the father, but it doesn't negate the fact that most men who file for custody actually get at least partial custody. So I'd say if you want to say mostly, meaning more than half, yes, but not totally. I'm not going to say like 80-20. I'd say maybe like 60-40.
Black women are responsible for the broken homes in our community.
I would say they're equally responsible as men are. Somebody in the household has to make the decision to break up a home. I think partially that is men, partially that is women. Shit. God damn. At what point, man? At what point are we going to have a conversation about the nuances of how homes are broken? Because we can talk in general till we blow in the face, but I don't think we'll ever come to if solutions is what we're looking for. Seriously, and we're talking about fatherless homes, and we're saying we need to find solutions, that we need to get down to the nitty gritty of why these homes are falling apart, and that can be a number of reasons. That's why I said I think they are partially responsible. I think we're both equally responsible because men and women do to one another. We do to one another to cause issues in our home that makes the home fall apart. Oftentimes we're selfish. The last person that we think about is the kids, both men and women. Sex is a forethought. Everybody wants to get their rocks off. And then everything else is an afterthought. Marriage is an afterthought. Being a parent is an afterthought. So yeah. I think we need to get down to the nuances of why these homes are broken apart rather than just looking at it as a blanketed thing. Because The reality is, as long as we keep trying to treat this as a blanketed issue and you can't solve for that because everybody's going to have an excuse or reason. There's always a bunch of yeah, buts. Hey, well, this happened. Well, yeah, but this happened. And then, yeah, but that happened. And all you do is keep passing the buck back and forth with one another.
I think I agree with the census of the panel in saying that it's a 50-50 contribution. I watch a lot of things that Black women do and say, so I know for a fact that they contribute to broken homes. I think that they contribute. Black women for sure contribute to the reason why we have black broken homes. And I think that men do as well, but I think that we don't really talk about it as much from the women's side. I think that most of the time when a home is broken, we tend to just think that it's the man's fault. We tend to just be like, what did he do? Must have been him. And then we forget that a lot of our women are broken. A lot of our women have trauma. And a lot of our women just don't want to be in relationships. I think I just read a poll where they were saying that Black women don't even want to have children anymore. Like they just don't want to do it. And they're saying the reason why they don't want to do it is because Black men are telling them to choose better, but they don't have any pool to choose from. So I just think it's a two-way street.
So you mentioned something about the contribution. What's the other contribution?
I said that they both contribute to the failure, of the Black family dynamic or the structure. And they contribute in different ways. I mean, Black men lead Black women. Black women lead Black men. And they both do horrible things on both ends of the spectrum. So I kind of feel like Sweeney in the instance, like, we know that it's happening on both sides. So the conversation now needs to lean towards why is it happening? What is really happening? And what can we do to change the narrative and fix those things? We know it exists on both sides.
How do men contribute? In what ways?
I think that men contribute, the men that I see, is because they are reckless with their seed. So they are out here having babies and creating baby mamas with women that they know that they don't want to have a family with. Like, you knew who this lady was when you laid down and had sex with her, and you knew that you didn't know her well enough to have a family with her. And so I think that the carelessness in men teaching young boys to be frivolous with their seed is a problem. Like, you can't tell your daughter, don't have sex with men, protect your goodies, and then tell your son, go ahead and do your thing. And these women are hoes. You can do whatever you want. So I think that in itself creates a broken home. Because you shouldn't be teaching your sons to be frivolous. You should be teaching your son that they are kings and that they, you got to work for this sperm. Like, you're just not going to be out here giving it away. So I think that the conversation needs to shift to things of that. And women just have to value themselves more. Like, value yourself and what you have to bring in this world. Because when you lay down with a man, it's a possibility you're going to have a baby. It just is what it is. And they've been telling us how not to get pregnant since sixth grade. So if you intentionally lay down with a man and get pregnant, yes, I said intentionally, because women, like I said, they've been telling y'all how not to get pregnant. And you choose to be a single mom, you have now contributed to the failure of the Black family. That's just how I feel. Like, I don't care what excuse you come up with. You contributed to that. So that's my take.
Thank you, Aisha.